So thanks for your time. How's life? I believe you're on the road at the moment.
I am definitely on the road. I literally was like, I was desperately trying to get to my hotel room, and they gave me the wrong key. So I
Yeah.
was like, that. I was like, I was like panicking, like, no, I've got an interview, please.
It's where are you at the moment?
I am. Where am I? New Haven, Connecticut.
Oh, okay, nice, nice. Okay, so there's a lot to talk about. Solo career obviously kicking off. Um, Obviously, St. Paul and the Broken Bones. You released an album April last year. Now you're embarking on a solo career. Well, why now? And kind of what's your master plan for it all?
Well, isn't that the grand question? I think for me, the solo project's been in the works since like 2018. I think for me, the kind of idea is to kind of treat this a little bit like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and like Tom Petty, and we want to kind of, I had this opportunity to do the solo thing. I thought, you know, I felt like the time was right. The band is the band. It's like I always say, like it's kind of it's my comfort blanket,
Yeah,
and so that's not going anywhere or anything. And so it's just I think for me it's just another outlet to kind of explore creativity, or just to kind of just to work with different people and do those kinds of things. I mean, when you have 8 people in a group and it's a somewhat of a democracy,
yeah,
it's a bigger ship that has to move a lot slower. And
yeah.
so when you doing the solo thing, there's only one decision maker in that. So that's a kind of an interesting journey.
I was going to ask, I mean, like you said, there's 8 people in the band. It's a bit of a democracy. What challenges or how was it going into a solo career? What was that like? What's that been like for you?
It feels like being a trapeze artist with no net. You know what I mean? It
Yeah,
really
yeah,
does. The band's always kind of been a safety, so this has felt a lot different than that,
yeah.
which is good and bad. I think for me, I just wanted, I in a weird way, I kind of wanted to scare myself a little bit. You get
Right.
kind of comfortable with the band and you do the thing, and it's great. It's a great place to be creative, and I feel very fortunate. But with this, it does challenge me, and it does do different things that
Yeah.
maybe I wouldn't have done in the band.
Okay. I mean, you talked about scaring yourself and it challenged you, but what have you learned about yourself doing it?
Um, Man, what have I learned about myself? Um, I've definitely learned to. I think from a songwriting perspective, it
Right.
is because you're in the room with different people, and you just try to. Basically, when it first started, is like, look, I am an open canvas. I want to experience. I don't get to experience these things with the band. The band's insular, it writes within itself. And
Mm.
I was like, just put me in any room. I don't care. Just the beginning, and then we'll curate from there. And I think from a songwriting perspective, it it gave me a lot of respect for certain forms in those people that, like, that's what they do, right? And that's
Yeah.
all they do all day. And I admire it because, like, for us in the band, if we write 20 songs, well, we can release 15 of those. Well, if you're someone who is in a room and they work on it, 5 days a week or whatever, they write 200 songs a year and
Yeah.
maybe one of them. And I
Yeah.
think, you know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
it was a very interesting process to get to collaborate with people like that, because you really ultimately just have to enjoy the process.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot about, I think I learned a lot about that, and a little songwriting tricks and things like that, which was
Yeah.
kind of fun. It was kind of fun. And so I think that perspective. And then I am not the most social person in the world. So
Right.
you would get it, you get in these places, and you had to kind of expose yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
And that part's very uncomfortable for me, because I'm like, I need to get to know somebody. It takes me like
Yeah.
a
I
month.
suppose that goes back to what you said about being with the band for so long. You're obviously comfortable in that
Right.
area.
Right. Yeah. And so you would have to expose yourself in a lot in those situations. And that was a personal challenge for me. And so
Right.
you know but I am better equipped now than I was
Okay.
before the started.
Okay. I mean, if you just, I mean, if you when you go back to the band, do you think you'll approach songwriting with the band differently?
I already am. Like we're writing. You know what I mean? Right
Right.
now, we were up in Muscle Shoals, and yeah, I'm already kind of approaching it a little
Okay.
differently, which is nice.
I mean, in what way is does it feel different or is it different?
I just think you. I mean, I hate as cliche as it is. You have like different tools in the toolbox, right?
Yeah.
And now you
Yeah.
have things that you're a stronger songwriter, and you feel like you're just better equipped, really.
Yeah.
And so it's not that it's not that like everything's dramatically changed as far as that goes. You still
Yeah.
feel the music and see what happens, but um, yeah, I think that's where there's this little there's things with the band. It's like, all right, now we can do this or that, and go on from there.
Okay. So the single's out. Is that a kind of an indication of the direction you're going with the solo material?
Not necessarily. I think we're
Okay.
kind of yeah, we're kind of treating every song as its own entity,
Oh, okay.
which is once again a very different thing for me. I'm used
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
like you release 12 songs and that's. But I think for now we're kind of treating each song as its own direction. Um, so yeah, I mean it's definitely like a kind of a pop dance kind of tune.
Yeah. I was going to
Uh,
ask.
yeah, which is obviously, it's not something I've particularly done in the past, though we've done kind of dancey songs, so
Yeah.
it's not too far out of the realm. But yeah, that's kind of so far that's how we're treating it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who
It's a great
knows where that.
single.
Oh, great. Yes, 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 great.
Uh, I wanted to ask. I mean, I was reading the comments on YouTube under the single. There's been loads of great feedback about it, but the one that really kind of made me smile was looks like Elton sounds like Jamiroquai.
Hey, I will take that any day of the week.
I was going to ask what your thoughts on that.
Jamiroquai is like that's a high. I love that. We played North Sea Jazz Fest with Jamiroquai, and it doesn't play often. So it was.
Yeah.
I remember. What I remember most about that is that it was Erica Badu and then Jamiroquai, and backstage, I guess Badu's kids were playing with Jamiroquai's like head piece or whatever that moved around or whatever. I was like, this is what is my life like? This is so surreal. So I will take that any day of
Happy
the
with that
week.
one.
Yeah, I'm happy with that one.
Okay, I mean, like we said, the Broken Bones album came out April. You've said you've been writing new music with the band already. Obviously, the single's just come out. Where does it all kind of fit together in terms of like your plans for the next 12 months? What's kind of the
I
math?
think I think what's really interesting about the solo project is I think we're just kind of like seeing where it goes, right? Because it's a new project and it's like um which has been totally different because when we do band stuff, it's like you make the record, you do the whole campaign and all that stuff,
Yeah,
and it's coming. With this, it's kind of like, okay, let's see how this does, and you adjust, and it's just different because there's just it's just a different way of doing things, and then if it does get some mojo with it, or there's something we need to capitalize on, then we can do that, and
right.
that's an interesting way of doing things. I've never done it that way, so
Yeah,
it's been a learning curve for me because the song came out, and I'm like, okay, what do I do now? And it's like, well, we just kind of have to wait,
yeah.
and, which is just an interesting tactic.
Okay. I mean, you touched on it earlier, but people do solo projects for a lot of different reasons. Maybe to scratch a creative itch, maybe just to between tours for a bit of downtime. I mean, what was you? I mean, you said that it felt right now, or now was the right time to do it. I mean, why now, and what was the reason, and what are
I
you getting
think
out of it?
I'm. I mean, I hate going back to it, but I think I felt a little like almost too comfortable. You know what I mean? You getting a little like fat and lazy. Where and
Yeah,
not totally, but you just we had some opportunities to work with some producers and stuff, and when with the band, everything's just so insular, which is great because it
Yeah.
provides this great atmosphere to be creative. But with the solo thing, I got to collaborate with all sorts of people, and I thought it just felt like, okay, that's something I wanted to do,
Yeah.
and this provided that opportunity to do that. And you got to leave the band be, let it be the atmosphere that it's going to be,
Yeah.
and let this kind of create, because I still don't know exactly what the solo thing is. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I think it's still creating its identity.
Yeah. Okay.
And so but yeah, I think that's yeah, I think there's obviously creative itches that it scratches. But I mean, my goal is not to be like, all right, I'm gonna be a solo artist, bye band. Like, that's not really the goal.
Yeah.
Yet. Yet.
Well, I mean, if you're being called Elton John meets Jamiroquai, it's heading in the right direction.
100%, 100%.
And on that note, I mean, I mean, I've heard some of your like your Otis Redding covers, things like that. And obviously, like you said, the new single is a disco pop kind of thing, and there's the soul stuff you've done with the band. Shows somebody with quite a diverse record collection. What was your kind of go-to bands when you were growing up, or go-to artists? So who made the biggest impact on you?
I mean, when I was growing up, all I could listen to was gospel music and a little bit
Oh,
of
yeah,
soul. So
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I grew up in, rural Alabama. So that was,
Right, okay.
going to church. So that's all it was. So,
Yeah, yeah,
uh, um, as I got older, as I got to be I mean, I always tell people this. I never listened to like a full Beatles record till I was like 21 years old,
right.
which is sad, but it was just kind of
Yeah,
the environment I was in.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, but once I hit about like 2021, it was like my world had opened up. So I listened to anything that kind of made my ears tingle, and I
Okay.
felt like I had 20 years of catching up. So
Yeah. I mean, what took you into singing? I mean, I guess gospel and church and things
gospel
like
and
that. Was
soul,
that
yeah, yeah. But that was that. I sang my first solo in church was when I was 4 years old.
wow?
So that's kind of what I thought I was gonna. You know,
Yeah,
I didn't really even know I could sing because I'd never heard my voice recorded. And so it was not something like, people are like, oh, you're living your dream. Like, well, I never really dreamed about this because I didn't even think I could
yeah, yeah.
sing. So um, my dream was to be a preacher.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, I was going to say, I
so
mean, if you look forward now, though, I mean, you've performed with the whole gamut of everyone from like the Rolling Stones, Elton John, Lizzo, Glastonbury, Coachella. I mean, we could just go on with the list. I mean, that kind of must be mind blowing.
uh, it certainly is. I mean, we've been doing the band for over 10 years now, and it still feels, I don't know why, it still just feels very fresh. And
Yeah,
you have the opportunity. I mean, it's like even doing like a UK interview. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that to
yeah,
me, like was never even anything in my stratosphere that I ever
yeah,
thought I would do. And so I'm grateful for it, but it is I'm a perpetual motion person, so I have a hard time kind of like sitting in it. So I need momentum all the time,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
probably
yeah.
why this solo thing happened anyway. It's like
Right.
I gotta push forward. And so
Yeah.
um yeah, it still feels new for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of that, though, I mean, like you said, you grew up in rural Alabama. You wanted to be a preacher. We're now talking to somebody that's performed for Elton John, played Glastonbury, Coachella. Like we said, what would you say to yourself if you got to say this is how it's going to pan out? I mean, what would you think? Because
um
it is completely crazy.
it is completely crazy. I think I don't know. I don't think I'd have believed myself. I would. I mean, who knows? Like, I probably, because I was in such a small bubble, I'd have been like, whatever. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
But I ain't doing that, and I think it's unfathomable. You don't think you just don't even. I mean, our goal when we first started was to sell out a 200 cap room in Birmingham, Alabama. That was our
yeah,
goal, and
yeah,
we did that. We did that, and it was like, okay, that's it. And now ever since then, everything's kind of been gravy. It's just been
Yeah.
kind of nuts. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I would have believed it probably.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of artists, then, do you have a bucket list of who you want to work with, or would like to even perform with, or is there anybody on that?
It's funny. Most of the people I would like to collaborate no longer are living.
Yeah.
So that limits that. I don't know. I'm always interested in doing stuff that's just a little bit different. I mean, I love someone like Kendrick Lamar or someone like that that I
Okay.
would, you know what I mean? Something just a little different that
Yeah.
something along those lines would be someone who's, like a great hip hop artist would be a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
Um,
But I mean, that genre of music's changed completely, so that's not kind of out of the realms of possibility, is it these
no,
days? I
not at
mean, it's
all.
that
No,
genre's just
that's hip hop influences everything now. I mean, there's just no, you know what I mean? It's like
yeah.
we got trap beats everywhere. So it's yeah, it's pretty crazy that yeah, I don't it doesn't seem like that's out of the realm of possibility, but you never know. But I would be that would be something that would be fun just to see.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, I mean, just before we wrap up, we do a kind of slightly off topic, just for fun question, completely random. But we thought we'd tie it in with the Broken Bones theme. Um, as an adult or a child, have you ever hurt or injured yourself doing something really dumb that you want to admit to?
Uh have I ever done anything really dumb? I mean, yes, I've done plenty of dumb things. There's no doubt about that. I mean, the only broken bone I ever had was when I was 5 and I jumped off a slide trying to be Superman and I broke my left arm and I was
Right.
left-handed. Um, I think though one of the dumber things I've done, um, I during shows I kind of do crazy things and do stupid stuff, and I've hung off some 20-foot balconies and
Yeah.
25-foot balconies, and actually one time in Manchester, funny enough, I got in a situation where I was hanging off a balcony and I couldn't get back up. So we had to get all of our people to come and grab me by the pants and get me up. And I was just like hanging on some sort of decorative structure
Yeah.
on a balcony. And it was like, and the show's like, you do the fun like bomb bomb show's over, and I'm still just hanging there,
Hanging up. Yeah.
holding on. Yeah. And I was like, this is a very Spinal Tap thing to happen right now. But that's one of the that's if I've done plenty of those kind of dumb things.
Brilliant. Perfect. I mean, just to wrap up, it's been great talking to you. Like I said, I really enjoyed the single, so I'm looking forward to seeing what you do next.
Thank you
And
very much.
hoping we get to carry this on in the UK, but I will not be hanging off a balcony for you to do it. So
Yeah, I don't recommend it. It's a
no,
little embarrassing.
yeah, but I mean, just in terms of the rest of the year, like you said, you're right with the band at the moment. The singles out. What are your plans?
I mean, we do have a tour over there. That we're coming over to Europe in June. And then yeah, I think we're have shows in the States, and I mean we're knocking off 2 states we've never played this year with Alaska and
Right.
Hawaii. So I mean it's an interesting year, but I mean for us it's like we're just a perpetually touring band, and this is kind of how it works. We're not good at staying home, so that right now that's the plan.